I know this one is going to hurt. I can imagine that the Jax household is mourning right now, but we're going to have to talk about it. Khalil Rountree is out of his fight with Jamal Hill at UFC 303. Now, this card was already kind of piss weak in my mind, and we will get to what implications this has for the cards. Khalil obviously withdrew and then immediately addressed it after he said, and I quote, accidentally consumed a banned substance. So again, this is a bit of a two-part question. How do you feel about the circumstances surrounding the withdrawal? And how do you feel about the prospect of Allberg stepping in to replace him at UFC 303?
As far as like the circumstances of the withdrawal, of course, you know, it sucks. It was a great opportunity for Khalil to jump right into the title picture with a win over somebody who could be damaged goods. I don't know. He could be. So it could have been a really good opportunity for him. As far as the, you know, what actually happened, I mean, who knows? He seems like, you know, a pretty straightforward dude, but you never really know, you know. So hopefully it's something that's an accidental situation and the commission sees it as such and he gets 6 months and is back in there. Who knows? But it does suck, and it does throw a little bit of a monkey wrench in a division that is full of monkey wrenches because of just the weirdness of light heavyweight. So, which brings us to Carlos Allberg, who is, he's got a little heat behind him now, you know, coming off a 12-second finish. Him against Jamal, it would be a very, I mean, who else at this point against Jamal? But I think it would be a very interesting fight. He's already trained and ready to go. He didn't, I mean, obviously he didn't take any damage. It would just be, you know, himself getting ramped back up a little bit. But I think it would be a pretty dope fill in for Khalil. I think he's probably got more star power than Khalil does anyway. So, and then for Jamal, on the other hand, he would still be fighting a striker. This person is a very different striker than the Muay Thai striker that Khalil is, but I think that Jamal will be able to adjust. So I think it would actually be a pretty good person to bring in to fill in that spot. I mean, as far as like how it helps or hurts the card, I don't think it, because of the level that Khalil is as a star, which is pretty non-existent to be honest. I think that Carlos would slide in as a bigger name, has the whole CKB thing behind them. You know, they can start playing up the Alex Pereira angle if they want to. So there's a lot that they could do with an Allberg fill in. So I think it would be pretty seamless. That's probably the best idea.
Yeah. Firstly, I think in addressing the withdrawal, I don't think for 1 second that Khalil Rountree is a cheater. And I certainly don't think that he took performance enhancing drugs on purpose. Like I have no doubts about that. Like, he says it's a tainted supplement and I fully believe him. At the same time, I don't have any sympathy for him in this situation at all, because this is the thing about the whole supplement thing. It's like, how many times has this happened now? Honestly,
a lot.
The simple fact is, like, you need to be responsible for what you're putting into your body, and supplements, with the amount of times this has happened, have known to be somewhat of a gamble and not really trustworthy at this point.
Yeah.
Like, there are elements in supplements that fighters can take in their natural form, and if you've got a little bit of responsible nutritional planning, you can get those things off the shelf without needing to take supplements. Like, you've got access to nutrition now, and athletes that take supplements are choosing convenience over common sense. And for that reason, I've got no sympathy. There have been enough fuck-ups in this regard where you've had taken the supplements. Don't take the risk. So I will stand by the fact that I'll say, yeah, I don't think he took anything on purpose, but he was dumb and he was lazy, so I'm not feeling sorry for him.
Yeah.
No, but having said that, I don't think he deserved the matchup in the first place. So this being cancelled doesn't really mean that much to me. Like, I'm going to contradict myself a little bit here. I know that Ulberg just entered the rankings, and it is going to sound like a contradiction. But as I said in previous Khalil videos, I've never really been impressed by his performances, by his CV, or by his wins. Ulberg, on the other hand, has been fucking people up. And Menefield is a better win than Rountree has ever had on his CV. Even, you could maybe argue Smith, but I don't. Like, I think the Smith that he got was jumping off the couch and it's kind of washed anyway. I think the Menefield win for Ulberg is a better win than Rowntree's had in his career.
It's not far-fetched.
It's not a crazy take.
It's not.
Nah, I don't think so. Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I'm sure if somebody did a little bit of digging, they could probably. But like I said, I've looked through Khalil's CV, and I think that holds weight.
Yeah.
I think actually, if it turns out to be the replacement matchup, in a way, I kind of prefer it. Like, I still think that Hill would be the favorite, but I think it's a way tougher matchup than Rountree, who I will say again, I think is shit. So I think this all worked out for me really well personally. I know you're hurting. I know you're hurting, but I feel like the MMA gods have stepped in here. Off to the back of the queue.
I don't appreciate when they step in. That's my thing with the MMA guys. They step in at the wrong time.
Yeah, they seem to step in just randomly when it's
But I can't disagree with that matchup being something that has a little bit more to it as far as like storylines, what they can play up with that matchup, especially with the streak that Carlos is on. It looks really good.
It feels more dangerous for Hill, doesn't it? It feels like a more dangerous matchup.
It does. I mean, and then Khalil, like, it just depends on what happens. But Khalil can come back and fight somebody, fight Rakic or something. You know what I'm saying? Fight, something like that. He'll be okay.
Which I think is what should have been next anyway. I think Rakic would have been the next. Obviously Rakic has to go down a peg.
Yeah.
And again, I think Khalil was getting pushed a little bit too. He was getting pushed a little bit too quickly. I mean, I know he's been around for a while, but based off the CV, the wins, everything, I felt like you're fighting Jamal Hill now. I thought that was like, wow, that's good for you. Like,
yeah.
But it just felt like, and again, it's not that I dislike Khalil, because I that's not the case at all. I do like him as a person, kind of. It's just like, I don't know. I felt like it was a little bit undeserving, and it's not that I'm like, haha, you're gonna get banned now. Good, I just feel like I said, it was a silly thing to do. You don't need to take those things anymore, and I think that's something that we do need to discuss somewhere down the line in terms of. I think supplements should be banned. I really do, or it should be a case of the UFC should be. I'm surprised the UFC don't make their own supplements.
You would be like, and that's actually where I was just going. Is if it were me, if I were a fighter, all my supplements come from the UFC PI, all of them, all of them. I'm putting.
I'm sure they provide that, right?
I am certain that they provide supplements. None of mine would come from anywhere but the PI, and I'm keeping receipts. So if I pop for anything, I'm saying no, y'all gave it to me. I ain't taking no suspension because this is y'all's fault. Y'all gave me this.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's going to be a case of, like I said, when Khalil's results come back, I'm sure it's going to be a case of, it's again a very minute amount of something that probably doesn't cause any major performance. It's just more of we found it in your sample. Because I don't think the guy's cheating. And I think there's been a lot of circumstances where people weren't cheating. Again, it depends on what was found, but I think the very fact that he's come out and he's been like, look, straight away, and I as a quick sidebar before we continue, I have to give credit to Khalil for that, because he could have just said, I'm withdrawing from the fight, I've got an injury. And again, doesn't have to disclose his circumstances.
Yeah.
He's come straight out and said, this is what happened, bam, bam.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that we know, or we can suspect, very strongly suspect, that there have been a number of fighters who have just disappeared for 6 months or so.
Yep.
Probably under very similar circumstances and haven't said shit. So I do have to give him a lot of credit for coming out and addressing it immediately and saying, this is what happened, it's my fault. We're going to try and I'm trying to work the situation out and fix it. And I actually give him a lot of respect for that.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have to do that.
That's true. I think that's just his
So he's gone up a
personality.
notch on my book.
I think that's just who he is.
Yeah, he's gone up a notch. So now he's at 1.
He's on his way.
Keep climbing. Keep up the fight. Because we all know that only my opinion of you matters.
It is. That's the only one.
That's it.
It's the only one.
It's the only one that matters.